Decluttering is truly a skill that takes a lot of time to develop, and many of us have made our mistakes along the way. So today, I'm going to pull back the curtain and I'm going to share 4 common declutter mistakes that you can hopefully avoid in the future, and it's going to save you so much time and energy. Hey, I'm Katie Wells, declutter expert and host of the Maximize Minimalist podcast, and through my show, YouTube channel, and online programs, I've helped thousands of families successfully declutter and love their home again. The number one declutter mistake I see is not knowing your value lens. So what is a value lens? Think about it like this. We all see things differently. Just like we can go to our eye doctor and, when they're flipping through the different prescription lenses and all of a sudden one is so clear and you see 20/20. Well, we all have different value lenses. We all see things differently. It's the way we interpret value in our things. And it's so important to understand because our value lens impacts what we keep, what we purchase, what we're unable to let go of. So from a declutter aspect, if you struggle letting go of certain categories of things, if you are able to identify your value lens, chances are you're going to give yourself a lot more grace and compassion. But number 2, you might be able to actually let go of more. So I'm going to share a couple really common value lenses. A lot of people have more than one, but you're probably going to have one that outweighs the other. All right, so some common value lenses are frequency of use and how it adds to your life. If you are someone that really values things that makes your life happier, simpler, more joyful, it could be something as simple as your favorite pair of shoes because they're comfortable and go with every outfit, or it could be your coffee maker because every morning it makes your coffee for you and it tastes delicious. And these are things that typically get used, have a purpose, and have a function. Another common one is sentimentality and emotional attachment. If you consider yourself a sentimental person, this is probably a really common value lens on how you interpret things in your home. And a lot of sentimental people, and there's nothing wrong with being sentimental, by the way, it doesn't make you a bad person, but a lot of people with that value lens really struggle letting go because they tend to get emotionally attached to things. This could be anything that reminds you of a past season of life. Maybe it reminds you of a memory or a loved one, and could be anything from a family heirloom that you love and display to a scarf your best friend gave you 5 years ago that you don't even love or wear. You just struggle letting go of it because you are emotionally attached to it. The last 2 are doozies, so stay with me. Monetary. If you tend to value things because you see some type of monetary value, and that could be what you paid for it or what someone paid for it and then gave it to you. People like this tend to hang on to things for that aspect only. It's not because you use it, you love it, you even want it. It's just you don't let it go because you're not willing to let it go unless you can recoup some financial investment. The last one is potential usefulness. This is a doozy because most of us have scarcity mindset. And when we have some type of scarcity mindset, we see the value of hanging on to everything, even if we are not using it or loving it or have the purpose now, we see that it could in the future. And so if your go-to narrative in your head while you're decluttering is, oh, I'm going to hang on to this because it could be useful or it could come in handy, then that's definitely a sign that this is one of your big value lenses. So we can't change our value lenses overnight, and it does take time, but it's so wildly helpful to bring awareness to it because sometimes just that awareness allows us to move on and be able to let go of so much more. Number 2 is organizing your clutter. If you're anything like I was, all I used to do to help the clutter situation was simply move it from pile to pile to pile. And I thought I could out-organize my clutter and out-organize the chaos. You cannot. Trust me on this. I wasted so much time and energy running to Target, buying cute bins, thinking bins would solve the situation, but it doesn't. And you can easily identify this if you spend hours organizing and the mess is back within minutes, sometimes even seconds. That's a sign you're trying to out-organize your clutter. So stop being a chronic organizer. Instead, shift your attention and intention to actually letting go and decluttering. Number 3 is fantasy self versus current self. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes it's really hard to let go of things because it represents who we want to be, who we thought we could be, who we want to be still, maybe even who we were. But many of these things that we hang on to don't represent who we are right now. Here's an example. Many years ago, I wanted to be a Pinterest mom because I had a good friend who was a Pinterest mom, and she did all these arts and crafts with her kids. So sometime along the line of watching her be so happy doing it, I thought, well, a good mom wants to be a Pinterest mom. A good mom does arts and crafts with her kids, right? No one told me that. That's just what my subconscious thought. And so I went out and bought all this craft supplies, and it sat and sat and sat in my garage for years. Every single time I went to declutter my garage, I'd come back to the arts and crafts bin, and I thought, well, I just can't let it go because this stuff could be useful, right? That was one of my value lenses, was potential usefulness. But I was also so wrapped up in, I want to be a Pinterest mom, and this represents that. However, I never did arts and crafts with my kids. I didn't enjoy it, and my kids didn't enjoy it. So once and only once I was able to identify, I'm hanging on to this stuff for a fantasy version of myself that doesn't exist now and won't ever exist. I was able to cut the cord and easily let go of all of that arts and craft supplies that was collecting dust in my garage for a really long time. So if this hits a nerve, a great solution is to just objectively, without judgment or shame, ask yourself, why am I so attached to this version of myself? Why is that? Like me, likely you have some stories and narratives happening in your mind that you need to put to rest. And once you're able to do that, you will so much more easily be able to let go. And number 4 is not finishing the declutter project. So decluttering truly means getting it out of your house, but I see so many people drop the ball once they bag it and box it up. Maybe they toss it into their trunk and drive around with it for 3 months at a time, or just shove it in the corner of a room. But regardless, every time you see those bags and see those boxes, it does the same thing that clutter does. So clutter signals to our brain that there is more to be done. And so do the bags and boxes of this clutter that's waiting to be completely handled and gotten rid of. So do yourself a favor, schedule it in your calendar system, ask your partner to do a donation, utilize your local Buy Nothing group on Facebook, but however you need to get rid of it, get the last 10% done. I promise you, you are going to feel so much better. You're going to complete that project by getting the stuff out, and you're going to free up that physical space in your home and also your mind. Fortunately, these mistakes can be easily corrected, and now that you're aware of them, hopefully avoid them to begin with so you can continue your declutter journey. Want to keep up your decluttering momentum? Check out the video on the screen right now.